All right, my friends, welcome to the RPG Backlog. This is Prof Plays Games Larry. I'm here with my friend Travis, and we are talking about Final Fantasy XII. This is the 7th episode, Final Fantasy XII. We just talked about Giduvegan, the Great Crystal, and this time we are moving on to kind of the biggest dungeon in the game, the last big dungeon in the game, the last dungeon in the game, Pharos, this tower, way far away from everywhere else we've been in this world, really. So I'm going to dig into the story a little bit, just to recap, and Travis, please jump in places that I get wrong or that I miss, leave out. But we left the last episode with Ash getting the Treaty Blade, and them going back to Balfenheim, I don't know why I can't say that word, port with Redis. They decide that they are going to take the Treaty Blade to find the Suncrest, and they realize that is a place called the Ridorana Cataract, which is this big waterfall. It's not really at the edge of the world, but it's in the world. But the Suncrest is on top of the Pharos Lighthouse. So they go to the lighthouse and they find a message on the wall. It was like a fucking stone carving from Wraithwall, giving instructions to descendants who might one day come to this place, which is what happens here. They find the Suncrest at the top, but when they get there, Gabranth is there, and he's been spying on Ash to see what's up with them, what they were trying to do. Larsa was trying to figure out, or at least convince Vayne that Ash was sincere in her pursuit. But when Gabranth sees Bosch, he's pissed. They fight. Then Dr. Sid arrives, and there's a big fight there. And then Rassler appears, the ghost of Ash's former husband, and is trying to get Ash to become the new Dynast king. But then Ash realizes that's not her husband. That's just these Okuria gods manipulating her, and she says, fuck this. So there's a fight with Sid. Sid's Esper Famrit. They fight, defeated, and then while Sid is defeated, he asks Vana to kind of put the deifacted Nethicite together with the Suncrest, I guess. But the Suncrest is starting to explode. This part I'm misremembering, maybe. Do you remember this?
This is where he's basically using the other pieces of Nethicite to draw in mist to feed the Suncrest. And then
that's right.
The Suncrest is from basically there's another Nethicite. I'm assuming they never really go into this very much, but the Bahamut, the ship that Sid has created, basically is drawing its power from the Suncrest somehow, remotely. Don't ask me how. And that's what it was trying to do, was awaken that ship by drawing in a bunch of mist into the Suncrest.
And when that's happening, Sid turns to Balthier, and Sid's like disappearing into the mist. And I love this line. He tells Balthier to do what sky pirates do best, fly, which was really cool. But then the Suncrest is super volatile, and Redis takes the sword from Ash, reveals that he used to be a judge who was sort of responsible for Nabudis's destruction because of the Midlight Shard with Dr. Sid. So in sacrifice here for those wrongs, Redis destroys the Suncrest while the others escape. And by destroying the Suncrest, Redis fucking dies. And we learn that if you're a former judge, you become a sky pirate.
Or at least that's a requisition to become a sky pirate, is you have to have been a judge. Because,
exactly.
Yeah.
So you just run around the port, and you're like, okay, all these sky pirates, all of you are former judges. Okay, great. So that's that. Really, the main thing here in terms of gameplay, because that was the story. The gameplay is that there are really 3 ascents to Pharos, where there's sort of a bunch of bosses and a bunch of puzzles to figure out. So what'd you think overall of this whole big section?
So I don't mind it. It was entertaining, but the reason why I'm laughing is you're like, oh, there's a bunch of puzzles to solve. I was going, there were puzzles to solve? I just walked up, clicked the thing, and said, okay, sweet, and just started walking around until I got to the next place, clicked something, I was like, sweet, and moved on to the next. I don't remember there being an actual puzzle, but if I look back over the guys like, oh, make sure you pick this and that, I'm like, holy crap, did I just get lucky as hell or what?
I guess the one puzzle that stands out to me, so I am curious about this with you, is during the first ascent's the longest ascent, and it's after you get to the big turtle, which was called Pandemonium. This turtle made out of rock, basically. When you come back in and you use the waystone, and it brings you to the Wellspring Ravel. I don't know if you remember the names or not, but there's like 4 levels of that place where you're going up and up and up, and there are enemies that are green and red, and in the guide it calls them brain pans and dadars, and that was the names in the game too. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
So if you hit a brain pan, you're trying to hit the brain pan and hit enough to, I can't remember exactly what it was, like open the next section or something like that. No, it was a green bridge, right? The green bridge.
Every time you killed one of the green ones with the green flame, a section of the bridge would appear, but it was always green, and then it wouldn't until you killed enough of them to fill in the entire section. The bridge would not be accessible. However, if you killed one of the ones with the red flame, one of the sections of the green would disappear.
And that's what I'm talking about for the puzzle, is that piece where so far through to this point, when there are enemies around, you're just trying to fucking murder everything to get to the next section. Whereas this one, there was a bit of a puzzle to the enemies where if you just killed them back and forth, these different enemies, you would not be able to advance because you didn't let the bridge go.
That was in the second ascension.
This one's still the first.
Was it the first? I thought it was the second one.
No, it's definitely the first. And the reason why I think it's confusing is because this first ascent has 3 bosses. You start with the dead dragon Hydro right at the entrance. Yeah. And you do a little bit, and you go up to Pandemonium, which is the turtle, and then you do all of this shit, and then it ends with the boss Slit, which I thought was a fucking dragon, but you pointed out was actually a fish. And then after Slit, that's when you teleport to the second ascent.
I'm trying to figure out what the second ascent was. So
the tiger boss Fenrir, he's in the second ascent.
Yeah, but I was trying to figure out what was the gimmick in the second one.
I don't think there was one.
Okay.
Maybe there was, because there was no. Oh no, there was. There were 4 doors. And
okay. That's what
the
I was
second one.
taking as a puzzle, right?
Yeah, that's another
because
puzzle.
That one carries on to the third part as well. I think
it does. That's right.
It's hilarious because I didn't notice that at all.
What the hell? I want to dig into that so much. How the fuck? What do you mean by that?
Let's get through part 1 first.
Okay,
and then we'll get into part 2.
We'll put a pin on that and come back. Go ahead.
So they really they spoon fed you that part about like, oh, you need to kill the green. At least I think they did.
No, it was obvious. It was not like a hard puzzle. It wasn't fucking the witness here, you know?
Yeah. So to me, I was just like, okay, this isn't really a puzzle. It's just I have to kill enough of these stupid green ones before I kill a red one.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. And I thought it just changed up the idea of just you're a murder hobo killing fucking everything in this goddamn game. To like, you have to be a little more thoughtful about how you kill them here, which I thought was interesting. And also because of the gambits, sometimes your team, I don't know if you had this situation, but that mine would run past the Dadars when I wasn't trying to kill them and start fucking hacking on them, and I had to like run away and pull them away so they wouldn't kill the fucker.
All mine would always, the only one that could possibly run ahead and target anything was my leader. Everyone else is set to only attack what my leader was attacking.
Oh, interesting. I never did that, and that's really interesting. I should have done that there.
I did that on purpose because I discovered early on that if I didn't, like, I'd be attacking something, I'd be like, dude, why are you over there fighting that thing by yourself, you dumbass? Like, if you were over here helping me, this one would already be dead, and we could be over there as a group.
Oh, my God.
So I was just like, screw this. You're only allowed to attack when my leader is attacking.
This extends the fact that we are learning how to play this game together, because I never even considered that, and that is so fucking logical. And now I would love to go back and do that, because there's so many times where like my dumbasses would be whacking on one person, they'd go over and whack on another person. I was like, if we just focus on this one together, it would be dead.
Yep.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh God, what?
So to me, that's why that puzzle wasn't that big of a deal. It's like, shit, I killed one of the red ones. Hey, look, the green ones all respawned behind me. So I just turn around and go back and kill some green ones again real quick. So I don't know if it had been better if there had been a mechanic in there. It's like, yeah, you killed a red one. There's one extra green guy hidden somewhere for you to find. And if you don't find him, have fun, reload.
That was frustrating.
It would have been frustrating, right? But this one felt like there was almost no repercussions for fucking up.
Yeah, other than, it was just one piece going away, right? So it's just once you figured it out, you're like, okay, I get how this works. I did like that the Datars, when you focus on killing them, it would bring up red pieces, and the red bridges tended to lead to like secret fun stuff. I just didn't have the patience to find all the secret fun stuff. I found one set of armor that I used on Balthier that was strong, and I used it the rest of the game. But other than that, I didn't find anything else useful, and I didn't do them all.
I didn't find shit.
No, interesting.
I was, like I said beforehand, I was like looking at the things like, oh, there's all these items in here. I'm like, well, nope, I never saw a single one of those pieces of gear at all. I just murdered things and kept going straight on ahead.
Yep, looking for the end. Yeah, there was a Perseus bow is the one thing that I didn't get, but there was an armor that I thought was really good. I can't remember the name of it though. So then at the end, you face. You go into another illusionary room where it's like, I'm not in a tower anymore. I'm in this world or land or whatever. And it was Slit, which I guess is a fish. I don't remember that fight being particularly difficult. I just face tanked it.
I actually had a little bit of trouble with this one because I fully believe I was way too low of a level for this place, because I think at this point in time I was around 36, 37. And every once in a while he'd go on just this little mad flurry, and it would take one of my characters from 0 to dead every time.
Interesting.
And then he would do that to one and immediately pivot and go to the next. I'm like, going, you SOB, knock it off. So I actually ended up that fight finally with 2 of my characters actually completely KO'd.
Interesting. I don't think I had that problem, but that's cool. I mean, there's been many times where you've had no issues that I've had issues, so that's interesting. I just remembered there was a weapon that I got for Bosch. It was a pole guy. I got from her the Gungnir from one of those Datar puzzles. That was also pretty cool. So I got that in a dragon helm. So
yeah, the one thing that was really weird with this boss fight with Slit was at one point in time I had one character alive, and the next thing you know, he's not attacking me. He's on the other side of the arena, and I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm gonna res my team. Healed everyone up. I'm like, wait, what is he doing? And like, I had forever and a day to get everyone back up, res them, put protect, put shell, put haste up.
Yeah, sure.
And he's just over there like looking at the side of the arena. I'm like, what the? Okay, sweet.
Enjoying the scenery.
Yeah, he's like, okay. Basically, is like, I know I can beat the crap out of this guy whenever I want, so I'm going to go on a leisurely stroll for the next 5 minutes while he gets recouped, because this is the imminent challenge. And then he came back and like immediately one-shotted someone again. I'm like, you son of a bitch, man.
That's so funny. So yeah, I thought this kind of followed the trend from the last section where there was like different things happening in short order, so my attention was kept and it was I was engaged. So we moved from the first ascent to the second ascent, which has 4 doors. And do you want to take this one? Explain what the hell happened here.
This is the one where there was like the 4 little things, and each one of you picks like you've chosen knowledge of power or knowledge of wisdom or something like that. And I think at each one of them, if you picked it, it took something away.
Yeah,
like one took away items, one took away magic, one took away your weapons, and I don't know what the last one took away.
The one that I chose was knowledge, and it takes away your mini map.
Oh,
yep.
That's the one I took away too, I think.
That's why. I mean, I
the
took away
pink one.
Pink. Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I just ran around the big circle and kept sitting there. When I got to the one, I'm like, what is this one? I clicked on it, said knowledge of wisdom. I'm like, okay, I don't know what just happened. And then I walked through the door.
I had a guide, and I was like, I can get rid of my weapons. Fuck that. Get rid of my magic. No way. Get rid of my items. No. Maybe, but no. And then get rid of my map. Sure. I don't need my map.
Yeah.
Good.
No, I had no idea. When I went into the room, I just assumed that was the mechanic that you were going to lose your mini map no matter what you did.
Interesting. Yeah, no, it's just for that one. You lose your mini map. Although I felt like I had it back later, but maybe it was when it was finally time to be back.
That's in the next part. When you get up there, you had to pick the same the same shrine that you had picked in the previous part, and then that would activate the elevator. Which,
yes,
again, I got up to that top part and I ran around and I hit the first one in front of me, and it ended up being like, you can't attack. I'm like, okay, this isn't right. The next one, you can't cast magic. I'm like, okay, this is stupid. Third one, you can't use items. I'm like, okay, man, what the fuck? Go to the fourth one. Boom. All of a sudden, the elevator comes up. Like, oh, okay, sweet. Go get on the elevator.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by I didn't even realize there was a puzzle there the whole freaking time. The first one I picked, and I went through a door and started murdering things until I got to the end of it.
Yeah, so I think taking the knowledge one is kind of more straightforward. It's like, I don't need the map. I'm just doing my normal murder shit all the way through to the boss, which is Fenrir, which is like this white and black tiger looking thing.
So it says you say it takes away the map. It takes away the mini map, but you can still open up the map of the freaking place and see exactly where you are and where you like. So
yeah, you're right. That's what it was. Because it took away the mini map. I was like, okay, I don't have the mini map here. But then I opened the regular map. I was like, so what the fuck did I lose?
Yeah, so that's part of the reason why I didn't realize that there was anything.
Yes, exactly.
On.
You're right. I forgot about that because I was like, oh, okay, because the guy is like, okay, I'll lose my mini map, and I was like, well, I didn't lose my mini map. I was like, I guess maybe I never used my mini map or paid attention, or I don't know what, but. You could have like the map overlay over top of your screen by hitting L3, but that wasn't taken away. That's not the mini map though.
Yeah, it had zero impact on me whatsoever. So that's why I didn't realize there was a puzzle until I was reading over the thing. It's like, oh, this puzzle, you need to do this. I'm like, wait, what? There was a puzzle there the whole time? Holy shit.
Puzzles upon puzzles. The boss, I don't know. It was just beat the shit out of me. It was a physical beast, but just like the other ones, I didn't have much of a problem with it.
The tiger thing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude. At this point in time, I just spell every time I went into a boss, I cast a spell on them immediately to remove whatever it was, and then face tank.
Yep, exactly. Dispel and crush. So this one was more. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, that boss was not a challenge at all. The fish one was more of a challenge for me than anything else afterwards, to be blatantly honest. The rest of the game, that was the only boss that actually consistently killed anybody in my party.
Yep. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, even getting to the end, the last chunk, which we'll talk about next podcast, I agree. There wasn't too tough. So you beat this guy, which I felt like this second ascent was straightforward, and then you get to the next one, which I felt was a little less straightforward. And this one was interesting because I realized I think this is the one where the very first time you get there are 4 like waystones. There's a white, purple, pink, and yellow that corresponds with the altar you chose in the second ascent. And at the very first one, I think it was the very first one, we have a choice. I think you have to choose the black one to move forward. But
yes, that's right.
Right? Yeah, but I didn't realize that, so I went and touched the pink one, and then I got teleported back to right where I was, and I was like, I'm in the same spot. I must not have hit it right. So then I went and I hit it again. Did you hit one of those waystones that was not the black one twice?
No, I just ran up to the left and hit the first one I saw, and it happened to be the black one.
Okay, so I hit the pink one twice, and I got teleported. I went back and looked at the guide later to be like, what the fuck just happened to me? You get teleported to a secret room, and in the secret room, you get ambushed by undead that spawns more undead. Then necrofiends come in, and they just keep spawning until you kill enough of them, and they just keep putting a fuck ton of status effects on you, and just are pummeling you for minutes and minutes and minutes, and you're trying to survive. And it was like, this room was the hardest part for the rest of the game, was staying alive in that fucking room, and until there's like a ding or a chime or whatever that you can fucking leave to get out of there. But that place has the map for the entire Pharos. So that was an interesting thing that happened.
It's probably good that didn't happen to me, because I probably would have quit the game.
I got my ass handed to me. I did. It was just like, I was at, we had talked about the last podcast. We're at the point where we had unlocked all the LP, the license points and whatever. And we're face tanking bosses. We're moving forward. It didn't matter. I was still getting my ass fucking handed to me here. And I was like, I'm back to the part where like, I'm going to survive this by like the last second. And I didn't survive it. I wouldn't have survived it, but the chime opened. I could grab the map and get the fuck out of there. So then the door opened when you had killed enough or whatever. And I just ran the fuck out of there. So yeah, the rest of the game is easy after that.
Yeah, no, I don't know what it is with me, and maybe it's because I'm a left-handed person. By nature, whenever I'm going to play the game and I have an option to go left or right, I always go left.
Yeah, because black was on the left.
Yeah, it tends to work out for me for some reason. I don't know why. This has been my entire life in gaming. For whatever reason, it's like 95% of the time when you go left, it ends up being the shortest and easiest way to go, or the right path.
I wonder that's because game design evolved after like Mario, where you go right all the time, to like Super Metroid, for example, where you go left. Like going left was like secrets and fun stuff.
Right. Yeah. Now that I think about it, like the old games, that's the first thing you do in any Metroidvania game is you always go to the left when you first start out, because 9 times
Every
out of 10,
time.
that's where there's a hidden thing.
Well, even like Donkey Kong Country on the NES, or goddammit, the Super Nintendo, you go left and you like go into Donkey Kong's home and get some bananas, and they continued in that series to do that. Yeah, going left is always fun. So that's interesting, because the black was left. For me, the pink was right, so I did go to the very right when I'm right-handed, but I went to the pink because I thought I was supposed to, because I went to the pink door in the last ascent. So I was like, fuck, am I in the same spot? Am I somewhere new? I should hit the pink one again, and then fucking just go time. It was crazy.
Yeah, this goes back to what I said earlier. I did not realize there was a puzzle at all.
This is so funny. You're like, I mean this kindly, like kind of bumblefucking your way through this game.
No, I literally was. Like, I don't take any offense to it. I was literally this is what's gotten me in trouble. Like I said, one of the last ones we did, not the last podcast, but the one before that, where I was talking about the point where I would have hit the wall if I hadn't done the license point, and I was talking about Final Fantasy X, where I had bumblefucked my way to that boss and then got just reamed by it.
The zombie thing, right?
Yeah, and if I had paid attention, I wouldn't have done that. This time, I did just face tank, just plow straight ahead, and just like, whatever happens, happens, and somehow it worked out for me.
That's crazy. That's crazy that there's, I feel like they're not hard puzzles, but they are things that if you don't figure out, you cannot progress. And you're just, you're figuring it out. I think that's how it always worked in the past, right? Like when this game opened up on the PS2, there were no guides or anything. So it's like, just figure your way through it. But you seem to be figuring your way through it the first time.
There were definitely guides that got released with it. This is at the point in time in gaming where Primo would always release a guide with it at the same time.
That's right.
So there would have been a guide for all this stuff back in the day. However, I don't, like I said with the last one we were talking about with the crystal, I don't think I did that the right way. I just did it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing here. Did I do this the right way? Maybe there was a more efficient way to do it than how I accomplished it. I honestly can't answer that question. I just know that I went in, I was like, I'm going to the left. There's a way, the teleport thing, I'm going to touch it. Okay, go forward, go forward, go forward. Hey, that color, the pink one, looks like what I've been looking at before, so I'm going to go touch that one. Sweet. Hey, there's a boss. That's just, I got lucky.
Yeah. Well, you got through it, which is good. And when we did that, we got to a boss that's like an, I don't know what the fuck it was, like a eagle man with big long fucking horn arm or hands. Hashmal, yeah, exactly. Who was weak to wind, which was helpful for me. So I just used a bunch of wind. I had some weapons that had wind element on it, and I used my Araga or whatever.
I just now learned that he was weak to wind.
So you just face tanked him like before, yeah.
Yes, just
he wasn't that hard, yeah.
Literally just put my characters up there and be like, you eat hits, I eat hits, I hit harder than you, you die.
Yep. It's like a war of attrition. So that happened, and then you get back on the elevator thing, right? And you're going up, up, up. And then when you get to the top, there's some of the story cutscenes, which we talked about earlier, and then you face Gabranth, who is just a fucking heavy physical hitter. Boof, boof, boof.
Like all judges, I would argue whether or not they are legitimate bosses. Yes, I know they have boss health bars, but they are barely souped up versions of a normal mob.
Yeah, and this one went quickly for me. So, yeah, it went really quick. And then once he got his health down quite a bit, then he was immune. Was it him? Somebody, God, I can't remember if it was him or somebody else, where they're immune to magic, then they're immune to physical.
That's later.
That's later, okay. Okay. I'm thinking of somebody else then. So, yeah, he went down. You get more story between Bosch and Gabranth, and then the characters are sitting there talking to each other while fucking Gabranth is bleeding out on the floor. And then we get Sid. How'd that go for you?
Pretty much like every other boss fight. Face tank, die.
And he brings in his Esper, and I feel like the Esper was, fucking, it's not a bullet sponge, so we're not shooting bullets, but it felt like it was pretty spongy.
Yeah, he was just a giant health bar.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't do hardly any damage. He took forever to do. Maybe there's something that, again, since we've come to the conclusion that there were there were elemental attacks on weapons, and maybe there was an elemental attack that would have made that a lot easier. I don't know.
Yeah, for Famrid, it was fire. He was weak to fire.
There we go. That explains it.
But I don't remember using that or knowing that at the time. And then, the guide I'm looking at right now says that Sid is weak to Holy. I was like, I don't know if I used Holy maybe once, twice. I got it late game, so.
Yeah, no. Just face tank my way through.
Yeah, exactly. Boom, I'm almost to the end of this game. Let's just go. Let's go. So you get through that, and you head back to the Balfenheim port. You go back, and people are so sad that Redis is dead. You hear that from a lot of people. But then the next piece is the Bahamut, which is our next episode and our final episode. So we will dig into that next time. Overall, thoughts on this section?
About the same as last time. It wasn't bad. It was pseudo enjoyable for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, enjoyable. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Not my, top game of all time or anything, but I felt like I was starting to get more immersed in the story, and the ratio of action to cutscenes was higher in the cutscene end of that ratio, so it's nice to have more story told to us. It started to really flesh itself out here at the end, which I'm glad it did. It's better that it did here at the end than never at all. I just kind of wish it had done that a lot more earlier, but yeah.
The one thing I will say is this since Arcadia, it has felt much more. The cutscenes come faster and longer.
Yes, exactly.
And it's almost like I think we've had this conversation. I think you even mentioned that this was one of the situations where they ran out of time and budget, so they had to start slamming things in.
That's right.
So it's like it's really starting to show that, because hey, before you could play for freaking 4 hours and not get a cutscene, and now it's like you can play for 30 minutes and get a cutscene.
And I feel like that's the everything post Arcades for me, and that's not really a coincidence that this become my favorite part of the game. It was my favorite part of the game. We did you and I and Anthony did this gamer motivation fucking quiz, and you and Anthony had normal people distributions, and I had this fucking weird ass one streak point of the star, which is towards immersion, and I don't really give a fuck about most anything else. I want to be immersed, and this is the first time where I was immersed in the world fully because of the more cutscenes, because of the more story, because of the less stuff in between. So yeah.
Yes, this is where I'm starting to get to the point where it's not there yet, but it's almost the point where it's like, am I playing a game or am I watching a movie?
And that's the knife edge for me, where I want to be immersed in a story. Same thing with reading a book. The best games feel like books to me. I don't like movies that much, but it's the same idea, where there's a ton of story being told to you, but you're interacting with the story too. But the distance between watching and playing, there's a nice even balance for me, whereas I can see why other people would want more gameplay and less story.
Yeah, this section was pushing the cutscenes a little bit for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The next section really pushed that over the edge.
But luckily for you, it was the last section, the Bahamut.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, I was just like, okay, because I literally had to pause it, and when I came back, I'm like, oh wait, it's still got 30 more minutes of this crap. I know I'm exaggerating to all high hell, but that's what it felt like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, next time we will dig into the Bahamut. We'll dig into those cutscenes and the fucking boss rush with Vayne, and then we will also wrap up our final thoughts on the game. So tune back in next week. We'll be happy to have you here. Until then, please rate us on your podcast service of choice. Tell your friends. And just to give a short preview, following Final Fantasy XII, I'm going to dig into Undertale with my friend Scott. So that'll be really a lot of fun. So please come back for that as well. But until then, anything else that you have for this podcast, Travis?
No. Overall, so far games, it's had its peaks and its valleys, and its peaks aren't super high, but I can see where people would enjoy this.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thanks for listening to us talk about Final Fantasy XII, and we will see you next week.